If you're a high-level leader, you are busy. You've got more on your plate than you can keep up with, and it feels like more just keeps getting added every day. The problem is that you may think you're supposed to be busy as a leader, and you may have even believed the lie that being busy will build your business. Welcome to the Matt Ware Show, a podcast for leaders who want more and won't settle for less. Straight talk to help you lead better, live bolder, and not lose yourself in the process. If you're serious about going to the next level in life and leadership, you're in the right place. Well, hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Matt Ware Show, where we're passionate about going to the next level in life and in leadership. And I just want to say a huge thank you to those of you who watch and listen regularly. There's a crew who I know is with me, week in and week out. And I so appreciate you. Love getting to be on this journey with you to grow and to get better together as we move up, personally and professionally. It used to be that when someone would ask you in casual conversation how you were doing or how's it going, usually you would respond with something like good or fine, right? How are you? Doing good. How about you, right? I don't know if you've noticed this, but a few years ago, I began to recognize a shift in how people respond to this question. Now, almost all the time, if you ask someone how they're doing, particularly somebody who is in a high capacity role, they're a high-performing person, they're a leader, their response is almost always busy, right? And you can check this for yourself and see how often you respond that way when people ask you that question, right? How are you? Man, things are busy, been slammed, right? Just trying to keep up, right? We are busy. Busy is the new default for leaders. Busy is the badge of honor we wear that makes us feel important, look important, seem successful. We proudly spout off that we're busy as if that's supposed to impress people. But I want to suggest that busy is not better, and being busy will not build your business. The idea for this episode actually came from a talk I recently did for a buddy of mine who leads a large real estate office in Denver. Dozens and dozens of agents working for him, and every month they do this big, kind of lunch and learn thing for the leadership team to help develop them and grow them. And he asked me to come to speak about this topic. And the more I worked on the content, the more I realized that it was applicable not just to that group of leaders in that industry. I think really it's something that just about every leader in every industry needs to hear. And the reason why is because for most leaders, most of the time, we feel like we're busy all day long, all week long, all month long, and yet we still feel like we're not accomplishing as much as we want to or need to in order to move our organizations forward. We work hard, and that's a good thing. I'm all for hard work and work ethic and that. But often we feel like we're working really hard and don't have anything to show for it. The problem with being busy as a default, as just a way of life, as this mindset that we embrace, is that it makes us feel like we're accomplishing something. We feel like we're getting things done just because we got through a to-do list or had a full calendar of meetings or whatever. But at the end of the day, we haven't produced as much in our organizations as our efforts seem like they should have. Activity without movement is a waste of time. You can work a lot of hours, have a lot of meetings, make a lot of calls, write a lot of emails, and never get anything done that moves the needle in your organization. You can have a flurry of activity, but no forward movement. You have to stop thinking that busy is somehow the goal or is going to make you better as a leader. Most leaders are hard workers. We're dedicated, we're diligent, we're dialed in. That's probably how we got to where we are. And so when we feel like we're doing a lot of activity and yet we're not seeing the results we want to see, what we naturally do, our natural tendency is just to buckle down and work harder, right? We work more. Here's the problem. Doing more just for the sake of doing more will not make you more productive. It will not make you more effective. Being busy just for the sake of busy will not move your organization forward. Now, I can hear the pushback. Yes, volume matters. Yes, it's a numbers game. Yes, success doesn't come without hard work. We know all of that. I'm not disputing that. But if you think that just being busy is going to take you to the next level, is going to grow your company, grow your business, I promise you, it's not. Top leaders don't just do more, they do more of what matters more. Rather than scatter their time into a bunch of things that are somewhat important, they focus their time and energy into a few things that are significantly important in their organization. Top leaders don't worry about being busy. They worry about being effective. And so today I want to talk about 3 shifts you can make that will make you more effective, more productive, bring more impact without making you more busy. In fact, they might make you less busy. You might have to work fewer hours. You might have to do fewer calls and meetings and yet get more done. Okay, 3 productivity shifts that will produce more in less time. Ready? Number 1 is this: pick a lane. Pick a lane. My daughter's 15 years old and got her learner's permit back in the fall. I think I've talked about that in other episodes. And she's putting in a lot of hours behind the wheel right now. We got her a car at Christmas. And yes, I did the giant bow on the hood on Christmas morning because I wanted to set the bar so high that no other man in her life could ever compete with me. So she's learning to drive, and I have her drive as much as possible right now because I figure every hour that she is supervised while driving will make me feel better when the time comes and she's unsupervised when she's driving. But one of the things that I noticed right away is that, early on, she really struggled to stay in her lane. Sometimes she would ride the line or one tire's over the line. And when she wasn't, she was certainly like snuggled up next to it, right? Like not centered in the lane. I'm like, girl, get your tire off the line. You cannot be in 2 lanes at once. If you're merging, merge. If you're moving over, move over. But pick a lane. And I see this all the time with leaders. High level, high capacity, high producing people. We have so much going on all the time that we're constantly riding the line, trying to do multiple things at once. And it's so deceptive because multitasking feels productive. And yet it's actually one of the least productive ways to get work done. Some of you know this intuitively, but modern neuroscience has actually proven that multitasking is a complete and total myth. I spent a whole episode talking about this a few months ago, episode 10, if you want to go back and watch or listen to that one. And I won't get into all that again, but I do think it's worth revisiting this and reminding ourselves of this. Your brain's executive function, your brain's decision-making centers can only deal with one focus-intensive task at a time. Okay, that makes multitasking a farce, right? It's not even real. It's not actually happening. If you believe you are multitasking, you're lying to yourself. Your brain cannot multitask. All it can do is task switch. Which means that rather than doing one thing well, you're just trying to do a bunch of things and do them poorly. Okay, let me say it this way. If you are trying to multitask, what you're doing is mastering mediocrity. Because every task switch costs you time and attention and energy. So if you're texting clients and responding to email and reviewing contracts and jumping on social media and answering calls and talking to the person who popped their head into your office all in the span of a few minutes, it's going to feel busy. It's going to feel like you're working, but you're not getting anything substantive done. Stop multitasking. Multitasking is killing your momentum. It's destroying your focus. It's making your work surface and shallow. You're selling yourself short of what you're really capable of, and you're doing a massive disservice to the organization and the context in which you are leading. Multitasking is making you a mediocre leader. You can read the studies. People who try to multitask have more errors in their work, more stress, more cognitive strain. Their brain's being asked to switch back and forth all the time. It's like fragmenting, the working memory of an old computer that's got too many programs running and eating up all the RAM. One study from the American Psychological Association found that the attempt to multitask can cost you 40% of your productivity. Okay, that's almost half of your productivity. So when I say pick a lane, what I want to suggest is that instead of multitasking, you do something we call time blocking. Okay, maybe this is something you're familiar with. Maybe it's brand new. I want to talk about it just for a moment. Because top leaders, top producers in every field, in every industry, in every discipline have learned how to block time for one category of work. Okay, they've learned how to pick a lane. So the way to do this is to look at your calendar and block out anywhere from 30 minutes to 2 or 3 or even 4 hours, depending on the type of work it is. And during that time, focus on nothing but that thing. Okay, maybe it's client communication. Maybe it's copywriting. Maybe it's prepping for a meeting or a presentation. Maybe it's lead generation. Maybe it's building a spreadsheet. Maybe it's reviewing a contract. Maybe it's cranking out a website or an ad campaign. Doesn't matter. But set a timer and do that thing, and do only that thing for that amount of time. Okay, and watch what happens to your productivity. And by the way, pro tip, didn't think I'd be saying this in 2026, but there is a do not disturb feature on your phone for a reason. There's an airplane mode on your phone for a reason. And if you're not using it, use it. Okay, it'll work wonders for you. And by the way, no, you do not have to be available to all the people all the time. Okay, contrary to what everyone tells you. It's amazing how much you can get done and how much better you can get it done if you block out a specific amount of time and allow your brain to focus on one thing. Okay, so productivity shift number 1 is pick a lane. Productivity shift number 2, if you're going to become more productive, you're going to accomplish more in less time. Number 2 is protect your prime. Protect your prime. Every year we go on a big backpacking trip. My dad, my son, some other guys might have talked about it here. When you're in the backcountry, obviously, you're carrying everything on your back, and so you want to keep the weight as low as possible. You don't want to carry more than you absolutely have to. But of course, you want to have your phone so that you can take pictures, maybe listen to music. But you don't want to carry this massive external battery with you, to last 5-6 days in the woods. So what do you have to do? You have to learn how to protect the battery life, protect the prime energy on your phone so that you can get the most out of it for the right things at the right time. Most people try to protect their time. They focus on their calendar. They get obsessed with time management. But the best leaders I know are not as interested in time management. They're interested in energy management. They want to protect their prime energy for their prime activities, give their best energy to the things that produce the most results. So let me ask you this. What time of day are you at your prime? When are you the most mentally sharp? Is it morning? Is it afternoon? Is it evening? Whenever that is for you, whenever your energy is at the highest level, that's when your highest value work needs to happen. And the reason is because your best work will happen when you have the highest energy. Everybody's different, but you need to know, when do you do your best work? When do you need to do your most important work, the highest leverage work for your role, for your organization? Okay, if you had to say, hey, these are the 2 or 3 or maybe 5 things I do that bring the biggest bang for the buck. This is what I really get paid for. This is what really generates revenue. What are those things? Because those are the things you want to do when you're at your highest level of energy. The problem is a lot of leaders and a lot of high producers actually unknowingly, unintentionally do the opposite. They spend their best energy, their prime hours on email and paperwork and social media and administrative tasks. And again, it feels productive because those are things that do have to be done. And we like crossing them off the to-do list and all of that. But then when it comes to doing the high leverage work, the stuff that really matters, we're trying to do it when we have low energy. You're trying to do the most important things, the most critical things, the most mentally, engaging and taxing things when you're already mentally drained. Okay, so here's what I would say. Protect your prime. Protect your prime energy for your prime activities, for the things that produce the highest results. There are 24 hours in a day, but we all know those 24 hours are not created equal. Some studies would indicate that most people only have 3 to 5 hours per day when energy is at its peak, when it's at its prime. Only half a work day when you can really perform at your highest level. So the question is, are you using your prime energy for your prime activities, for the things that produce the highest results? That's scary, isn't it? It's scary to think that you've only got about a half a work day, 3 to 5 hours to get things done, really. And that means what you do during that time really matters. There's a book called At Your Best, Carey Nieuwhof, that really helped me with this. In it, he talks about what he calls your green zone. Green zone is the time of day when you naturally are at your best, thus the title. It's when your energy's at its peak, you're at the top of your game, you're creative and alert and engaged and productive and accurate. You feel more optimistic, more hopeful, more helpful, more generous. You are at your best self. The opposite, of course, is your red zone, right? Energy is low. You are struggling to pay attention. You're zoning out. This is when you're in the meeting, but you're not in the meeting. You're not following along, or if you're the one talking, nobody can follow along with you. Not only are you going to struggle to do your best work in the red zone, you might struggle to do any work. Emptying your inbox could feel like a huge task when you're in the red zone. It's when you feel tired and disengaged and unproductive and frustrated and irritable and pessimistic. Okay, this is the worst version of you. And somewhere in the middle, of course, is the yellow zone. Not your best, but not your worst. You can produce, even if it's not your highest level work. You can plug away your results. They're not going to be terrible. They just may not be, top notch. Okay, yellow zone, you're somewhat engaged, somewhat productive, somewhat efficient. People can get along with you. You're pleasant enough. You're civil. People can work with you. Life is fine. You're sort of a decent human being if you're in the yellow zone. And the idea is you go through all of those zones every day, right? In the course of a 24-hour rhythm. And so if you think about your day, your natural energy level, you can begin to map this out. Hey, mornings are when I'm at my green, right? This is when I better stack my most important stuff. Okay, for me, my red zone happens after 7 p.m. Okay, after 7 p.m., I'm kind of useless, right? And so the point is this: protect your prime. Protect your very best energy, like your life, like your business depends on it, because it does. You will only do your best work in the green zone, so guard this at all costs. Quick side note here. One of the challenges when you're in a leadership role and or a client-facing role, and many of you are, right, if you're listening to this, the problem is that your green zone and their green zone may clash. And so it does take some communication and some negotiation to navigate all of this. You are teaching people how to treat you. And too many leaders let other people's schedules and demands run their lives. You set the boundaries for your life and your organization. Yes, you're there to serve. Yes, your team and your clients need your attention, but you cannot effectively lead if the agenda and the calendar of your life is determined by everyone else. If you want to be a leader, start by leading your own calendar, your own schedule, and your own priorities. And let your team know. Let your clients know, hey, outside of an emergency, if it's after 6 p.m., we'll get to it the next day, or whatever your thing is. Okay, I've seen a lot of leaders burn themselves out by working on everyone else's schedule rather than their own. Okay, so be careful about that. I've got a client whose green zone is when my red zone is. So we've had to draw some really careful boundaries with them. And that can be done, and I would say it must be done to guard your energy. Okay, so that's productivity shift. Number 2 is protect your prime. Number 3, productivity shifts that I think high-level leaders, high-level producers can make to maybe get more done in less time. Number 3 is push the pipeline. Push the pipeline. My teenage kids seem to find a way to keep themselves very occupied, very busy, but not always spending time on the things that really matter. My daughter's in a hybrid school program, and so she's mostly home a couple of days a week. And one afternoon last week, I went up to her room and I saw her painting rocks. Not for any reason, not for an art project or anything like that, but just because she wanted to do something, which of course is fine, other than she had a huge biology test later in the week, right before spring break, that she was not putting her time and attention into studying for. Okay, and my point is this: do not spend important time on unimportant things. Not everything you spend time on is worth spending time on. Just because it's on the list, just because it's in the job description, just because it's conventional wisdom doesn't mean it's something of value. As a leader, you should spend your time and energy on things that move the mission and push the pipeline of your organization forward. I know that phrase, push the pipeline, feels like sales terminology, right? We get the pipeline filled up with leads and sales and deals and all of that, okay? But let's be honest, for most businesses and most organizations, some form of that is really important, okay? Income producing activities. Are you spending your time on the things that push the pipeline? Are you spending your time on things that actually produce something of value in your organization, in your business, in your company, with your team, on this project that you're working on? I'm guessing you could stay busy all day long doing things that don't actually produce any business, right? Okay, but what actually moves a deal forward? What moves a sale? What moves a customer experience? Okay, if you're in a ministry or a nonprofit, what moves the mission, the purpose forward? What makes ministry happen for real? Okay, everything else is support work. And it's not that it doesn't matter. We know all the support work matters. The administrative work matters, of course, but it is secondary. Okay, it's not that it's not important, but it is less important in the big picture. The problem is that it's easy to spend a lot of important time on unimportant things. So if you spend the majority of your day, tweaking your marketing or emailing or messing with your CRM or social media or administrative things, and I'm not saying that's not part of the equation, but in and of themselves, those are not the most important things in your business. Those are not the things that directly produce revenue in most cases. Okay, so those might be things you want to do in your yellow zone, not in your green zone. I recommend that leaders once in a while actually do an audit of their time, do a time study. Really look at it, really get honest about what percentage of your time is spent on activities that produce revenue, produce results, versus the activities that just support it. Okay, you might be surprised. Okay, and by the way, if you are at a leadership level, a high producer level, some of your most important time and energy needs to be spent in strategic, intentional conversations and relationships. Because no matter what business you're in the people business. And people are what move your organization forward. So the shift is to make sure that we are putting focused energy, focused attention on pushing that pipeline, getting the people, getting the deals, getting the sales, whatever it is, getting that moving in our organizations, because that's what produces results. That's what actually moves the needle. Okay, productivity shift number 3 is push the pipeline. Listen, I know you're busy. If you're a leader, you are not lazy. You're not lethargic. You're not apathetic. Otherwise, you wouldn't be in a leadership role, or you won't be for long. Okay, you're already working more hours than you want and maybe not seeing the results that are commensurate with it. You feel like you've got a lot of irons in the fire. You feel like you got a lot of balls in the air. And to some extent, maybe that's the nature of the business. It's the nature of the role. I get all of that. But you need to get really honest and ask yourself, will being busy really build my business? And I would suggest that in and of itself, the answer to that is no. But here's what will. Pick a lane, protect your prime, and push the pipeline. Those are the productivity shifts that will help you move business forward and even get more done in less time. Hey, if this helped you, would you do me a favor and share it with somebody else? That just helps us, get the word out, reach more people, and equip them to grow in life and leadership as well. As always, I love hearing from you. So drop me a comment, shoot me a DM. You can find me on the socials at the Matt Ware. And here's the challenge this week. Don't just be busy for the sake of busy. Don't just do more for the sake of doing more. Do the things that actually grow your business and take your organization to the next level. And until next time, go lead better and go live bolder.